Roll call,
Jerry Burmeister.
Kate Edwards.
George Harris.
Sandy Butler.
Ted Julian.
So we have four. Awesome. Now, so everybody have a chance to read the minutes?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So do we have a motion to,
Motion to accept minutes.
yes.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Done.
Good,
Okay.
good.
All right.
All right.
Our first item of business is a COA and grant application for Jerry. He is looking to get a new back door on his building, one that is fire rated. Jerry, if you have anything you want to talk about, you'll obviously have to recuse yourself from the vote. Is your door right now not fire rated?
It is not.
Okay, so the way I look at this is this can help with, although it's not. I don't have any pictures of the back of that building. I don't really know what the door is meant to look like or what it was originally ever used for. But I see this as an update in efficiency as well as safety for not spreading fires both inside of this building and to other buildings or outside.
Mhm.
So that's kind of how I look at it. I know, we might, and especially it being in an alley, we're still kind of trying to figure out how these grants as well as our design standards adhere or apply to the back of buildings in the alleys. I think when we get our downtown plan updated, we might kind of go back to our historic guidelines and maybe put in a section about how to really deal with the alleys. But they don't typically have the same standards as the front of the building. They're not really pedestrian spaces right now. You can't really see them from a major roadway. We do have platted alleys back there, but they're not named roads. We don't get road miles for them. We don't get money for them, etc. So,
And being a firefighter 35 years, there's no true fire door that's gonna
Mhm.
last
Yeah.
completely through a fire. If it gets hot enough, it's gonna burn through anything. All this is to maybe prorate it,
yeah,
make it last a little longer before the
yeah.
fire would,
No, I.
So it's a metal
totally
clad
agree.
door?
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
still.
Are you gonna paint it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's really all I've got on this one. The ask is $437.50 for the grant.
I see no problem. I mean, it basically matches, it's really similar to the old door. How long was the old door there?
It's been there since I've been there, which is 24 years.
Probably longer than that.
Didn't we approve something similar to this behind the Owens
We
building?
approved a new back door for the bank. That one was fire rated too.
Okay.
I'm good with it.
Yeah, we have a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Sorry, who's second? Kate?
Kate did.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Jerry, can you say your recuse yourself?
And let the record show that I abstained from voting on that.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, I think it's done.
Easy, easy, easy.
Okay, next thing I have is, we've got some estimates and, projects going for town hall. So with the lower amount of applicants we've had for this round of grant funding, I don't know if that's because maybe some people are in flux or waiting to sell off some buildings, things like that. Or have already done all the improvements that they can, like John.
How much do we have left?
We have 190,000.
Really?
190? I think.
Because I tried to spread the word to say, hey,
We've only spent 40,000.
yeah.
Well, 40,437.
Yeah, I've
we
been
have
trying to tell
250.
people.
No, then that means we have 210. I'm sorry, I can't math.
Oh,
210. Is Dr. Lau, have you spoken to him about the stucco on his building? Okay.
I spoke with him one day in my store for a length of time and he acted like he was interested, but I guess.
I know Tyler Martin is interested as well as we're taking off the rest of that awning. That's not just the chunk
Yes.
over the ATM.
right.
And removing the secondary chunk of brick that's on the first
Uh-huh.
floor and bringing that back to the original. So I know he's interested in that. Actually, I think his contractors are out there right now looking at stuff. He still has, money left from the last grant that he got to remove the awning that's not around the building.
Right.
But he's been having a time with BMO communicating how, and that ATM is then gonna be electrified and covered, because the electricity for that ATM runs through the canopy.
Mhm.
And since he doesn't own that ATM, he has to kind of go through them, so it's taking a while to get through that. Hey,
Well,
Bob.
No, I was gonna,
So he's the only one I know interested that's moving forward with some estimates.
well, did we talk to Dr. Lau about just possibly removing that awning, the front?
I mean, that was part of this ask last time, was
Yeah.
to remove that and put in a more appropriate style one, like what Jerry had.
Right, yeah.
That building is never shown to have an awning, whereas Jerry's has, so I don't know if we'd ever want to reconsider that. I mean, I think it was a pretty
You can look
nice
at mine.
show on it. But, so yes, but not really recent.
Okay.
Anyway, the project that the town would like to do, and that we're gonna go ahead and apply for is removing the brick infill on our second story windows. There are 9 of them. They are 1/1 windows. We do have one on the east side. That's in Karen's office, so it's that one. Let me turn this on. Right here, that's Karen's office. So all these other 5 and then the 4 on the front, there's a little sliver of a window here. I am not sure why that was put in that. So we'd like to put in 1/1 windows there. There is a lime sill missing here. There's a air duct vent here that I'm assuming when that was installed, when this building was modernized, it was removed. It's small, but you can see on the second picture, you might see it better on your iPad.
So what are the dates on the 2
Tiny
pictures?
little- This one is probably the oldest. It might be 1898. I have no idea what this year is, but there's like a Model T or something sitting right there. So
Yeah.
whatever that was. But this is what I'm assuming the most
Yeah.
original of the
It's
building.
after
looks like.
1900.
Hmm?
That's after 1900.
Like 1920s, maybe?
When the Model T came out.
I don't know when that
I
came out,
think.
you know.
So anyway, so those 9 windows, that replacement of that missing limestone little cap there. And then we are reinstalling the, brick stacks up on the top with the limestone caps.
Awesome.
So there's 11, I think, either 9 or 11. 11, okay. Thanks, Bob. And then, this, we're also going to place a limestone capper on top of the metal capper we have. And, I actually went up there today with the contractor. And he's going to just remove the metal lip that you can see from the road. Just,
The wall cap.
but not the whole thing, just the part you can see from the road, so that you can just leave the metal cap up there and just place the limestone on top as a decorative feature.
Mhm.
So that way he doesn't have to take the metal cap off that's already on there. We've had problems with this roof leaking. And I just don't really want to mess with it. So if it's stable enough and it's structurally sound enough, he's just going to place the limestone capper on top of the metal, but remove the metal that you can see from the road.
Right.
So
Is
then
that-
there will be
Is that just where the 11 pieces stick up, or is that? the
no,
entire-
he's gonna do the whole front and side with the limestone cap. And then, okay, so that's it. So it's the 9 windows. So removing the brick, putting in 1/1 windows as is shown here. Replacing those 11 stacks with limestone toppers and then placing a limestone topper in between the stacks. So the total price for that's $131,000, because we are doing stabilization inside of the building. We have a wall upstairs that's separating, so we're gonna be doing that. But so that is not included in the ask. We're also doing tuck pointing, repairing any brick that's damaged, or replacing any brick that's damaged on the outside of the structure, which I don't think there's too many So we're asking for 50, but we will be spending more than the 50 match. We'll be spending, like 75-ish.
Is this DNR? Is it
DMA.
is it Dave?
Mhm.
Did mine?
He's doing DMA Masonry, David
Yeah.
Ashton, and then the interior work is Glenroy Construction. Lane Slaughter, they were recommended to us by our structural engineer, from RC that did the building assessment on Mr. Busey's building. So we had them come in and do a report on ours on how to stabilize the second floor, and he recommended, Mr. Slaughter.
The windows, Hannah, will they look historically appropriate?
Yeah, they're gonna be 1/1s, just like this.
Okay,
And they'll match the one that's in Karen's office right now and the others that are along this second story. And he'll paint them to match. I believe they will be wood. I don't think these are vinyl. But they'll be painted to match, and then they'll be the same exact size to fit this opening here. Or what will be this opening, I should say.
Because I don't think they had, the HPC would approve vinyl or metal windows.
No, has to be wood.
Okay. I can make sure that's noted, and if that's an upcharge, the town will eat it.
Okay.
Alright, so wood windows. And honestly, I've never checked those up there. When he came through the building, he checked them. And he would just said he would get similar windows to what is installed right now. Were these windows already like this, the ones that are actually on the second story, or did you guys do this with a prior project?
No,
They were just like that?
there was a prior project, but it wasn't ran through the HPC.
Oh, okay.
Is that right, Bob?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
The second story windows that are already taken out, I mean, these were probably either bricked up at some point or they were
Yeah,
just
that's
flat.
a long time ago.
Yeah,
It's been quite a while ago.
so I don't know what product they're making.
This is a great project.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we're super duper excited. I'm sure Karen's not, cause I'm gonna rip the whole back of her office out, but
Oh, well.
I know.
Progress.
And that's what you get for getting a window, okay? I have no windows in
Right.
my office.
That's right.
So-
Well, I make a motion that we, you're gonna ask for
And
questions.
just a
Oh,
question,
that's
so
okay. Do
the
we have a
windows,
motion?
the windows facing State and the windows facing Pendleton Avenue, they're all being replaced.
Correct, yeah.
Hmm.
Yep, it's 9 bricked up windows on the second story.
And
Now, there
they're
are
not re-
some,
They're not replacing all the limestone. Are they gonna pressure wash the limestone that's in place?
we do have cleaning as part of the tuck pointing, but I can confirm that it's also the limestone.
So what happens on the inside? Is there drywall covering up?
There's all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
You've not been up there?
No, I've never. been
I
up
think
there.
some of it's cinder block.
Mhm.
Really?
It's gonna be fun, isn't it?
Well, aside, that would make sense
It's
if
gonna
this
be
were like,
loud.
no, if this is like 3 brick thick walls, then I imagine cinder block was a cheaper way to fill those in.
So they're not sealing the masonry, they're just working on tuck pointing, is that
Mhm.
right?
I mean, there is an option to clean it and seal it. Which again would put us over anyway, so I can ask the town manager if he wants to do that. It was an option given to us. If that's something you'd recommend, I can definitely tell him that.
be nice to have it sealed.
On the ceiling, I vote against,
Why is that, Bob?
because most sealants damage brick. There are a few, Versoco makes some sealant that's good, but I don't know about all the sealants that are out there. But it has to, the brick still has to be able to breathe.
Mhm.
It has to have air that can come out of it. And so
Yeah.
that's really.
Good point. Yeah.
So I know that Jerry suffered a loss when they took hammers and beat the heck out of the stucco on his building and broke so many brick on it. But, and that's mentioned in your report here too, which I thought was interesting. I did.
Oh, in Fritz's report?
No, I'm in. I think something we're gonna vote on here in a while. Didn't you,
In the guidelines. you said.
Yeah, the
Oh, the
guidelines.
guidelines. Yes, yes.
So in the guidelines, I know there's some recommendations for this building that you're talking about here too, the 101.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those were to investigate whether there's different colors more used. And I did take a close look at everything, and every place where I saw brick or mortar joints that had given way,
Mm-hmm.
it was red underneath. In every single place that I was able to look at.
Right. Well, is that purely a color or is that a compound that like lasts longer or something? Because I'm
No, it's
thinking,
a, red mortar is very common. If you look at the other buildings,
Yeah.
you find the red mortar color used.
Yeah.
In a lot of these.
but like
buildings.
chemically wise, it still does the same thing. It's just a different color.
I'm not sure what you mean.
Like if it's red, it's just dyed red. It doesn't do
There's-
anything differently.
There's different products that do that. Normally people use a powder. So it's similar, just,
Yeah, because what I would be worried about is if we're not at the point of completely like retuck pointing, I don't want it to be red in some places and white or gray in the others, because I think it'll look funny.
no, it would require a
A
complete
complete grind out.
grinding out.
Yeah.
Tuck pointing, because it's.
I
pretty
think that's
obvious.
something maybe, and with the sealant, we could look at doing in the future or something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend sealant, but anyway.
Yeah. And I think that's fine if we want to do some more research into it. I mean, this building hasn't had any major issues with deterioration. You know, we haven't had any pieces and parts falling into the streets or anything like that. I don't know when that piece of limestone came out or whatever, but it hasn't been since I've been here. So it could have been strategically removed.
If you have a,
So it's a pretty sound building as far as the exterior goes.
on the front photo, I don't know if that's here. But the coping or the metal that's on top of the wall that runs all the way around.
Mhm, yeah, the cap.
Here on the south side, it's been snipped to go over the top of some mortar that sticks up a lot higher. And there's a
Yeah.
piece of mortar about like this that is ready to fall off of there. It's,
Okay,
um,
good to know.
I wouldn't call it exceptionally dangerous right now, but it's loose. It's not.
Okay,
Gosh.
I'll have them take a look
I
at
thought
it.
about just pulling it off, but that's here, but I didn't.
I will confirm, but I do believe for these stacks, they're going to be cutting out the metal and taking the brickwork up from what's underneath it.
They could, if they do that, then they'd be able to put flashing back into a mortar joint
Mhm.
and it would come out and down and over the metal that's there. It could just come out of the mortar joint,
Yeah, I can,
down the face and out on the other metal. And if they're gonna be taking the pieces out, then they'd have the exact metal that they could use to redo that with. But some of these chimneys were 30-some inches, I believe, long.
Mhm.
Up here on the corner and then another one down the ways.
Yeah, let me get to that picture. They're pretty big. And
They're all
this-
different sizes.
Right, and so one thing I'm gonna tell him is that, because these side ones are short, these two middle ones are short, and then the end ones are bigger. And then this is probably the chimney, I'm not gonna put it back up that high. Probably just do whatever this is to match that, and I'm pretty sure I had talked with David about that. About the stack height. Because I want it to be like similar and mimic that look of kind of like the four posters of the bed essentially, and then the smaller ones in between, which I think is appropriate, but I'm assuming this back one used to be like a chimney.
Yeah, on the oldest picture, it looks pretty deteriorated back there and it's not near as tall.
Yeah,
So
or
it's
it could
almost
be
like
the
they
glare.
fixed it.
Like the glare of this, because it's whited out a bunch of things. This is edited in Photoshop to try to make it clearer.
Okay.
So it could be something like that, but.
Another quick comment on the cleaning. I just think if you replace all those windows and look really nice and those limestone aren't clean, you'll really see how nasty they look at that point.
Yeah,
I would suggest cleaning those while the bricks are still in. gonna be a
Yeah.
lot easier to clean it when the bricks are in versus when there's windows in. So maybe one of the first things, you still have some windows in some of the limestone, but many.
Yeah. Okay, so I
Another-
mean, I could
Another
definitely,
thought on that same thing is if the windows are in, then there'll be masonry that needs to have attention paid to it
what do you,
when they put the windows in. If the windows
Okay.
sit back just a little bit or however they're put in,
uh-huh,
they're gonna be taking brick out.
mhm.
And so I don't know if the window's gonna set all the way out to the face, or if it's gonna be recessed somewhat.
I imagine
Normally
it's
it's-
gonna be recessed a little bit,
And,
Because it has a sill.
and
because it's
so,
got a sill.
yes, and so that would be more normal. And so then the edge, if the windows are done first, and there's any questions about the masonry and the way it's gonna be fit, and somebody's gonna work on it, then somebody's not gonna have to come back and do it because it will be discovered when the window's replaced.
Okay, well, the next thing I'm gonna do is have a meeting between the contractors. And kind of just powwow with who wants to do what when. So maybe if you've got some comments for them, we could share that with them. Cause we wanna make sure it's the most efficient use of time, because this is a public building and, we have a lot of work to do. So we don't want it to be prolonged any longer than it needs to be, so. If there's a more efficient way for us to do it, we'll definitely aim for that.
Yeah, because if they've looked at it closely, they could say, not gonna affect the masonry at all, but there's a pretty good chance putting a window in there is gonna affect the masonry around it.
Yeah,
You're going to take the brick out
right. Right.
and it's something of a spall and stick to the old mortar or what, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, there is within that, estimate that Glenroy Construction gave us, potential unseen repairs or things that need to be addressed and things like that. And the town is prepared to, take that on if there happens to be any, but since they'll kind of be doing that all at once. And Glenroy is, a pretty well-known historic preservation office. I looked at their website. They came very highly recommended from our structural engineer, Mr. Fritz, or Mr. Herget, excuse me. So yeah,
Cindy,
we're gonna have a kind of a pre-con meeting with them to get going on this.
Sandy had made a motion and I'll second it.
Yeah. And we don't have any further questions, all right? Anybody?
Thank you, good.
All right, so there's a second. How about all in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? All right,
Woohoo!
very
Okay.
cool. This is
Yeah,
gonna be neat.
we're super excited. I know this storefront got some love a while ago, so we thought it's just about time to get our other building done.
So
now-
what's the plan for the bottom? the
And
first floor?
well, that's.
No, just-
That's
I'm
about
curious,
3
'cause-
years.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
whole other bag of badgers, because that's a whole brick face that was put over top of what I'm assuming was these windows. I
Right,
tried to look for them back there to see if I can see any outlines of these older windows. I'm sure that this is not still under there. It's probably more like this,
Oh,
where
no,
it's
I
bricked
got
in
it.
more on the bottom. Maybe that's apparent here, but I just can't really see it very well. So I would like to remove that and replace the windows kind of in this, maybe a hybrid of these two. I know we have a rendering from RQAW from a long time ago that shows kind of the full build out of what this could look like. And it's much more like the 1890, this very old.
so
one
not
here.
the glass.
Yeah,
block.
not the one with the Model T in it. However, I'm not sure, and something that just concerns me, from a security standpoint, is that if we have an entire storefront glass like that, we have safes back here, we have money back here.
Right.
There is certain types of glass that are only one-way glass, that's fine. But I think to put in that much glass that has to be very security minded is gonna be way too expensive. So I think a better alternative these people don't wanna be like a fishbowl, they don't want people looking in on them. And also, I'm not sure again, because I wasn't here and I don't really know who was, Homeland Security was a part of that conversation. Because they're the ones who made us put all this in. Because we're a government structure, and we did not have enough security.
Hmm.
So with that said, I know that's just the interior, not necessarily the exterior, but I think that might be a minor issue if we went back to the original. So a happy medium eventually, when we get another rounds of grants and, some other dollars maybe we could use as well. So,
Okay.
Did you?
all right. Oh, yeah.
Next.
Did you have another picture that would show that, I know in the report, you did an awful lot of work getting that thing ready, but in that, there's a rendering from somebody that's a more modern looking.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty attractive.
That's the one, and it's got a whole bunch of storefront glass. If I'm not mistaken. Let me see.
Yeah, it was a lot of glass.
Yes, it was a ton.
Because originally it looks like there were prism glass windows there and some of the prism glass actually opened in early photos.
Should know what page it's on right now. I've looked at this thing so many times. There we go. Okay, so it's this one here. I know it's a little different.
Oh,
to
yeah.
see. But that's all kind of storefront glass, but it also has the awning and, the entryway that's much more similar to the original one. However, I'm just not sure how feasible that can be with having an office up in there with a safe.
That and it looks pretty modern.
It does look pretty modern. There's not really the brick accents, I think, at the bottom where the kick plates are would be good to keep in, like that middle photo, and maybe some of the, like pilasters that are in between here, I think would be a good look, but something with opening it back up. I just am not really sure what that would look like. But anywho, so next thing we have is I just need you guys to formally vote on, accepting and paying for the National Register of Historic Places signs. Historic Fall Creek Milton Settlement headed this up with signage, getting these mocked up, so big thank you to them. But we'll get 4 of these, so it's $600. And they'll be on our 4 entryway signs that IMPA gave us. They're attachments, that just go to the bottom, and we'll have our street department install them.
Signs were there a few years ago, several years ago, somehow they come up missing. So
They're
we're actually replacing what used to be there.
And they
Like
go on
on
the
our old
streets,
IMPA
they go on the
signs?
street signs?
No, these
No.
will be on our Welcome to Pendleton
Yeah,
signs that IMPA gave us, so there's
Yeah.
like one in the roundabout, there's one
Right.
by the viaduct,
Right.
and then there's one on South Pendleton. We have a 4th one, but it got run over, so we could fix it, but I figured we'd just get 4 anyway.
Is the 4th one go up by the
It's-
cemetery?
No, it's supposed to go up by, where North Pendleton hits into 67, that little curve
Yeah.
there. And I think it was there and then it got run over.
It did.
So we'll get it replaced. So yeah, I just need, from you guys that you are okay with paying that from your coffers.
I'll make a motion that we pay the 600 for the signs.
You got a second? Anyone?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Guys are easy tonight.
I know. And then the last thing that we have, voting on purchase. Wow, that big typo, dyslexia. Adoption, sorry. Oh wait, I have these mixed around. Never mind. So updates to the design guidelines. Like I said, I got that in there, for you guys to redline. If there wasn't anything, major, I've got Sandy's edits here. Most of these are typos and some things I missed on the rehabs, so I'm okay with these. If you guys want to look at her suggestions, you can. Just some things I missed in the rehab guidelines. But other than that, unless there's any other major changes you need me to make, we can vote to adopt those as amended.
Yeah, I don't know which one was it. What's the page number on the federal style? I need.
Oh,
help with that one.
36.
36. We need to go to
Okay,
page
let me go to that
36.
one. We can do that.
So I sit down with Helen and Helen thinks that's an Adams. I'm looking at it federal
Is it-
and you
it's
have it Italianate and something else.
probably-
And I'm like,
Is it, wait, which?
it's page
Oh,
36.
Page
Page
36. I thought
36,
you
I'm
meant
sorry.
number 36.
No,
Okay.
it's page 36. I think that's how I did that.
I mean, I look at that as Italianate as well.
You would? Okay, I just
So
had a
that's
question
what
on.
the National Register interim report from 84 said.
Yeah, I
It
know.
said Italianate and federal, and I thought it had
That's
looked
page
more like an
36.
Italianate. I can put Italianate/federal if you'd like.
Well,
Cause I don't think it looks much like Greek revival.
it doesn't look like Greek revival
Yeah.
to me. And Italianate, I don't know. It's just a very old building, so I'm looking at it federal style,
Yeah,
but I don't,
and it has the federal kind of layout with the windows and the door, and that it doesn't have any depresses or outcrops.
right,
No porch, no,
right.
as far as I know, I don't know if that's their chimney or somebody else's, but if it is, it's in the wrong spot for a federal. They're supposed to be
That's-
on either side, correct?
But that's the back.
That might
part.
be their neighbors too, I don't know.
No, I don't think it was the neighbors.
Well, I'm looking at the front entrance. That's not colonial. I don't know.
No, it's not colonial. But, so I don't know. Helen and I went round and round. She thinks it's an Adams. And I looked up Adams and I'm thinking, well, it could be, but, so I don't know if it's important to really zero in on it.
Yeah.
I could sort of see it Adams style,
Yes.
but it doesn't have it doesn't have these, I always forget what these are called, that the mini windows, what come
It
out the
doesn't
roof.
have-
And
Well,
or like a super fancy front porch.
And see those windows up there, that's what kind of makes it Italianate.
Yeah.
I think the
Well,
brackets.
plus the
make it
brackets at the
Italianate.
top. I
The
think,
brackets,
make it more
yeah.
Italianate.
To me, that's what I saw the most was the decorative bracketing, but
I was just bringing that up for discussion.
yeah, no, good discussion for sure. And I mean, and there were some that I found in the interim report where it said one thing and I was like, this is not a Greek revival. Like things like that where I was like, I'm not really sure what they were looking at. But also there's some discrepancies just with addresses in the
Yeah.
interim report because addresses have changed. And it's also not an easy document to interpret. It doesn't just have address West State Street. It has north side of State Street, south side of Water Street. Like it is not an easy document to follow.
It's all
So,
over the place.
so I could have very easily missed some things, but
The one that I did have question on was Robert and Brenda Follins' home that they did there on Pendleton Avenue.
do you have
I'm-
either a page number? or-
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now because they altered that house.
Okay, this is not, okay.
They
Is
altered
that
it.
the one right by the?
What was it bef-
Rings
It's the
building?
Rings office.
Oh, okay, this one. This one here?
Yes,
Okay, Carpenter Builder.
it's a carpenter builder, yes. But it was,
I could see some Gothic features.
but see, that was all added on.
Oh,
What's that?
Oh, you want to see that?
Here.
So
Huh.
the porch on top was, I believe, added on. See, I don't remember what the house, I know that they did a lot of changing to it. 'Cause there
Oh,
wasn't any guidelines at that point in time. I mean,
Right.
it's cute as can be,
yeah. Yeah.
but it's been altered,
Mhm.
so. But I just left it as a carpenter built. It does say carpenter built, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, carpenter's bill is what it was originally. And then what was the other one? Well, that one's the Rightland Carpenter. Yeah, I think everything else looks good.
And it's all the wrong photo on there too, so.
Yeah.
Pavilion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my
Okay.
placeholder picture.
Oh.
For everything.
Oh,
I
I've
had
done
to-
that way too many times.
Yeah, yeah, so there, and I think I might have sent out a more updated version at some point, but
Oh, I know what
I
it
have so
was.
many versions.
It's the one where put the new Hun's, was it Hun's Chinese place there? It wasn't
Sophie's
garage.
Bagels?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes, that has been completely
Yes,
almost completely rebuilt. I forgot.
Mhm.
this one.
I
here.
think what
So
you
I
have
just
it just
put
right.
Commercial,
Yes, I think that's fine.
you know,
Yeah.
It's a new building.
It's a new building as far as I'm concerned.
I don't know if it necessarily has a style that we would wanna
There's
put
no,
in.
no,
Mhm.
just keep
Modern
it,
commercial maybe.
I just keep it commercial and be done
Okay.
with that. Anyway, good
Thanks.
job, good job,
Thank
Hannah.
you.
Yeah, really,
Yeah.
very
Really-
nice job.
Thanks, yeah, so, one other thing with this, and Jeff, you might have to let me know if I can do this. So since we adopted these in 23, I think, 23 last year. But we have added so much stuff,
Mhm.
that I wanted to update the year on this from what I think I already did it. But it's not necessarily like, I don't know. Jeff, am I just supposed to amend the 2023 document, or can I adopt this as the 2024 document? Because I added like 80 pages to it.
You can go either way on that, Hannah. You'll be
Okay.
fine.
I think then I'd like, if it's okay with you guys, I'd like it to be 2024.
Oh, that's fine,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Modern version.
Yep.
Okay, all right, so same kind of thing, and we can vote, to approve with, Sandy's corrections there, as listed, or without, or just. Or continue.
Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll give a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
That's what's in his correction.
Anybody opposed?
Yes, with Sandy's.
Well, my
corrections.
one correction though was not, the federal. I mean,
Yeah.
you can look at
There,
that.
it's just the, corrections as.
Yes, it's removing closed porch, you have
Right.
duplicate, removing closed porch balcony on the funeral home, we need that removed.
Yeah.
And there was a couple of photos. Those are pretty
And some
simple.
typos. And actually, one thing that I did add that I found, because Bob sent me some pictures of, the Stats Pharmacy building. And I knew it was in the architecture of the 1995 architecture study that Ball State did for us, but I didn't have any pictures for it. Was the French balcony essentially that was on that building. We now have a picture of it, which is fantastic. So that was one recommendation that I did put back for that building, is to reinstall the French balcony.
Yeah.
So, which is in that architecture study anyway, but
Yes.
I figured we'd put it in ours too.
Should we note also that our south porch should be put back on the goose?
Did I put that
No, but
It's okay, it's really the facade, it's not the side.
Well,
It's on the
It's,
street.
it's kind of part of the facade really, because you see it from the street.
do you know why it was ever taken off? Did the Furlings do it?
I think it was already. off
Okay,
when the
so
lights
this
took
north
them.
side, porch,
South side.
So
do I have a picture of that?
It's
South
in there.
side.
okay.
Oh, I do, it's right there.
What page
yes,
are you
restore
on?
South side porches. in there.
It's page,
35.
yeah, 35.
Oh, it's in there.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So
oh,
that's
yes,
why I
I
think
see
I
it.
might have done some things, and I sent out another one, but I don't know if I did it in time where y'all actually.
Okay.
Got it.
So are you gonna put the front porch back on? I didn't
The-
realize there,
The south.
oh, that's the
porch.
south porch, okay.
Yeah,
see
I
it
was
now.
confused too. My brain could, I was like, it's the north. What are you talking about?
It's the south.
So
Yeah.
yes, that is in there. And I don't know why it was removed. I mean, it looks like maybe in the 1921, it was the whole side, and then I can't quite tell in that one where it's painted red, if maybe they took off half of it or something like that.
No, I think it
I
goes
just
all the way
can't
back.
tell from the angle if it's the whole
Yeah,
thing
right
or
there.
not.
I think it does go all the way
Porch,
back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But no,
and.
Really?
maybe it was
porch right
rotted.
there, so
No, it looks,
They just ripped it off.
it's just it's a great.
no, it looks like it
You've
does
been
go
in that
all the way
house
back.
before.
no,
They just
Need to
changed
go.
it.
we were
There's
gonna
a-
tour
yeah,
it at some
I mean,
point.
either
We
way,
haven't
we
okay.
want it to look like this
Oh,
1920s
that's fine.
version as far as if a porch were
I've been all
to be
through it, it's
installed.
absolutely gorgeous.
Absolutely.
Jay Brown has the earliest photograph of the Great Goose that I've seen. And
Can you get it to me?
Sure.
you have to talk to Jay.
I can get you, I'll get you a copy
Okay.
if you'll let me. I'll have to fight him for it.
Yeah, because he He paid $550 for it.
Right.
Why would you have it so close?
So,
Ron Berline offered 500 and Jay bought 550.
nice. So, okay, so we will,
Why would you do that? That's
make
mean.
those changes.
That's Jay,
that
that's the
Sandy
director.
recommended. So that's everything
says
I
benefit
have, but
of
one
these
thing I do
paying.
want to keep on your
You're gonna
radar, that I'm considering doing is we have a sign recommendation or sign standards, excuse me, in our Unified Development Ordinance, which is our town standards code. And there is one for downtown business specifically, which is your guys' jurisdiction. Plus the Thomas Pendleton House. That's the only thing that's not zone downtown business that you still have jurisdiction over. But what I would like to do is add to this document a set of sign standards, and basically just kind of take them out of the UDO. Because it's very confusing having that set of codes and then we have these guidelines too. Or some, whatever the legalese way is to do that, to where there's just one for downtown business.
Okay.
Or what we would call a local district. Because I don't see in the future any parcels around here being rezoned to downtown business and not being incorporated into our local historic district anyway. So like, for example, the space in between the Rings, blue garage there at South Pendleton and Elm, and then you have, the Thomas Pendleton House. So the downtown business kind of stops right at that blue building, but if we were to go, and like I said, they're our only weird outlier. They're not zoned DB, and I don't really know why, but if we were to go and grab the parcel in between and that one, we would put it in our local district. Like, there really wouldn't be any reason to rezone something downtown business that isn't coming into our
Okay.
purview.
Okay.
So that's just how I see it. I'm gonna kind of go through and I might call Kayla and Rachel and just kind of see if that's just how it always was.
I think the house that's just south of Rings Garage, for dealership, whatever that was.
Yeah, that one's included too. You're right.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that one's in there. But yeah, just getting something so it's very clear and consistent as to what kind of signage we want down here. And I've gotten about like 4 sign standards from other historic districts that I'm gonna kind of mirror that off of. Now, if we can only put it in our guidelines as recommendations, that's fine, but what I'll do instead is have planning commission update the UDO to reflect what's in this guideline. So it has a little more teeth, but any changes to it will basically be this body's purview. as
Will
opposed
that
to planning
dovetail
commission.
also with like some of our wayfinding signs, things like that? I mean, as far as the
Those-
style,
I mean, we could if we wanted to, but those are kind of their own beast.
no, I just didn't know if it was something you cooperate with the agency that did all of the brand standards for the town.
I mean, they definitely have wayfinding standards for us. They
Right.
have signage and they have like mock-ups and things like that, but, all we would need to do, since that's more like government signage, then it
Mhm.
just has to kind of fit into the standards. Like, we can't have a sign that's as big as that screen because that just doesn't fit our standards, just because we're the government doesn't make a difference.
Okay,
So like, it's
It's more
kind of
physical
incorporated
parameters.
into that, but it's only for us to use. Nobody
Right.
else is allowed to use that branding or signage.
okay.
So
Yeah.
it's already kind of in here. But anyway, so that's something I'm gonna be looking into incorporating into a section of this. I know the guidelines are mostly for buildings, facades and things of that nature, not necessarily, or new construction or rehabs. It's not necessarily for signs or streetscapes or anything like that, but I just feel like this is a good place for that to go because you guys deal with that,
Okay,
because your signs and buildings.
yes,
It makes sense.
So,
makes sense to me too.
okay,
Go for it.
all right, that's all I have. Anything else you guys need? No. All right.
Do we have a motion to adjourn? Anyone?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody want to stay here?
No.
Okay,
Beautiful
we're good.
evening.